Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So let's talk about PlayStation raising the prices of their systems. So original PlayStation will be going up by $100. The digital version, I think, going up by $100 as well. And then you got the PlayStation 5 Pro, which is going up by $200. So instead of it being $700, it's going to be $900. And there are some people out there who are like, "Oh, I better go buy one quick before the prices go up." And I'm like, "Dude, you're stupid. Like, why would you even buy such a piece of shit in the first place? It's not even worth half that price." But this is pretty funny, PlayStation jacking up the prices of their systems because, well, one, I think it's because they realize how stupid most of you guys are, how you're willing to just blow your money on dumb shit. Everyone who buys a PlayStation console is typically stupid. That's, unless they just have a bunch of money or someone gave it to them as a gift or whatever, but that's just a stupid investment no matter how you want to spin it. But yeah, people are, pretty pissed off about this, or people are talking about it at the very least, and like, well, I don't get it. Why are they doing this? And it doesn't make sense for them to do this, especially with the PlayStation 6 rumored to be coming out in 2027. Why would they raise the price of the PlayStation 5 like this? And besides the fact that because they basically think you guys are stupid enough to buy it anyways, I think it's also because they are losing money off of every single PlayStation 5 that is sold. And maybe that wasn't a problem before because of, I don't know, whatever live service game is doing very well for them. I think Fortnite apparently makes up like the majority of PlayStation's profit right now. But I think it's also because right now they are really just losing money. They're not making enough money in order to keep the prices where they are. They're not making enough money to hold on to these studios that they've been shutting down for this entire generation. So we're seeing signs of them being in financial turmoil. All right, that's a fact. And people are really going to pretend like, oh yeah, this is their most successful console generation ever. No, it's not. The proof is showing you that, the evidence is showing that they're losing money this whole generation. You can't say this is their most successful console generation because, oh, they had higher revenue. It's like, that doesn't matter. They have higher revenue because the systems cost more, games cost more. It's just the only reason their revenue is higher is because the prices have been higher than they were for the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 3. That's it. That's the only reason why. Okay, the cost of PlayStation Network much higher than what it was with the PS4. So yeah, their revenue is going to be higher, but that doesn't matter. What matters is whether the profit margins are higher, and they're not. They have some of the worst profit margins ever. We have seen that their profit margins are anywhere, like, I think it's like, what, 4%, 5% or something. It's something very low like that. That's very bad when your profit margins are that freaking low. That's a very bad sign. And when you have profit margins that low, you're barely scraping by. What happens when you're not selling as many systems, when you're not selling as many first-party games, accessories, etc., right? Who knows if they even have as many PlayStation Network subscribers as they had in the last couple of years. So once, they start to lose a little bit of money there, you can only imagine that their profit margins are going to go, fall into negative territory where they're actually losing money. And that's going to be really bad. So what do they do in order to make sure that doesn't happen, to make sure that they're still making a profit? Well, the only thing to do at that point is to pretty much start selling off your studios, shutting down your studios, laying off all your workers, and just cutting as many expenses as possible, and jacking up the prices of your system, hoping that, stupid people will continue to buy your stupid console. And I think that's what's going on right now. That is what's going on. There's no other way around it. So it's really funny how you got so many idiots who can't really think critically. They can't really think for themselves, and they just oh, PlayStation says the PS5 is their most profitable console. It's like, no, just because it's making more revenue than the PS4 doesn't mean it's making more profit. And just because they appear to be making more profit on paper because they shut down a bunch of studios, laid off a bunch of workers, canceled a bunch of games, doesn't mean they're actually doing well financially. When people are losing money, what do they typically do? They try to cut as many expenses as possible. They try to get rid of as many. They cancel whatever streaming service they normally are subscribed to. They start to, they stop they stop getting their food at Walmart, McDonald's or whatever. They stop eating out as much. They do everything they can to start saving more money. They make big changes like that. And it's the same with businesses. Businesses, whenever they're shutting down studios like this, laying off workers, that's just a clear sign that they are losing money. They wouldn't be doing this if this was truly their most profitable generation. They wouldn't be doing all this. They wouldn't be come on, look, Dark Outlaw Games was a brand new studio that they started literally just 1 year ago. They started this studio literally just 1 freaking year ago, and already they're announcing it getting shut down. It's like, what the hell? And then you got goofballs. Freaking AGN, first of all, lying and saying it's not a PlayStation studio. That was stupid. Very stupid take from him. But then on top of that, he's trying to say it's not PlayStation's fault. He's trying to say they're not the ones shutting them down. And then he also goes on to say, well, this PlayStation, Sony, they just saw that they weren't producing anything. It's like, they've only been around for 1 fucking year, dude. Only 1 year. What do you expect them to produce in 1 freaking year? You know how long it usually takes to make video games nowadays? It usually takes 3 or 4 years, maybe more. Masahiro Sakurai, the guy is so talented, he gave us Kirby Air Riders in just 3 or 4 years. And that's a really great game, but you're not really gonna see, you're not gonna get a really good high quality game like that in just 1 year. So it's ridiculous to be like, oh yeah, they're getting shut down because they just weren't producing anything good or whatever. It's like, dude, it's only been 1 year. That's not enough development time to actually make anything. So it's clearly a sign that they are losing money. They're not doing well, and they have to cut their expenses, and they have to shut down studios, even studios that have only been around for 1 year. It's really funny how people can't see it, but clearly that's what's going on here. That is what's happening. PlayStation, they're losing money, they're bleeding money. They don't want to lose money, and they don't want to have to report losses in their next financial hearing. So what do they have to do? Well, let's shut down all these studios, lay off all these workers. Let's jack the prices up and hope that people actually pay this for these consoles. They pay the extra $100 or $200 for a PlayStation 5 Pro, and then maybe we're still gonna be good, and we can report to all of our investors that, hey, look, we've made all this money, we're doing well, we're the most successful generation, whatever. But that's anyone with critical thinking ability can see that that's not the case. Clearly they are not doing well at all. Again, they've shut down 8 studios in this generation, this entire generation. They've shut down 8 freaking studios. You don't do that if you are making money and you're doing very well. You don't do that if you're financially successful. You just don't. Meanwhile, Nintendo, they've only been acquiring new studios, acquiring new talent, constantly making games, not shutting shit down the way PlayStation is. They did jack the prices up a little bit for the Switch, just the original Switch, but yeah, who knows? Maybe they'll do a price cut for it soon. We just saw recently that the games are now going to be $10 cheaper digitally versus the physical version. So, seems like there's more signs that Nintendo's doing the best this generation than PlayStation is. PlayStation's not doing that good, and that should be obvious. But a lot of clowns out here, they're not going to admit to that. They're going to act like, oh no, it's It's probably because this studio is probably live service slop. I think people were saying that about Dark Outlaw games, like, oh, they were making some live service slop and PlayStation's getting away from that. Like, okay, you don't know that. Is there any proof that that's what they were working on? I have not seen anything regarding what game they were working on. And on top of that, you can't just say that that's the reason for them getting shut down. It's like, that's stupid. Let's pretend like they were just making some live service game. All PlayStation has to do is say, hey, cancel that game. Let's do this instead. Work on this instead. That's it. They don't have to shut them down. The only reason they would shut them down is because they simply cannot afford them. Because if they, keep them around and they're not really making enough money, their expenses are greater than their income, that's not something they're going to want to report, to their investors. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on here. PlayStation is just bleeding money again, and that's why we're seeing them shut down studios. That's why we're seeing them jack up the prices of their trash-ass consoles, because they're losing money on each console sold. So I think what they're doing is they're like, okay, it looks like people are still buying our system. We thankfully, retardation is still a big thing among gamers and consumers. So we got these stupid people who are willing to buy our console no matter what. They're just brain dead. Let's hope that we could jack up the price by $100 to $200 and they're not even going to notice, because that's how stupid they are. That's pretty much what PlayStation's doing. So they're basically, they're basically gambling and taking a risk, and they're just hoping that you guys would be stupid enough to continue buying their system, and hoping that this time they're going to actually start making some profit off of each console sold. So we'll see what happens, but they're definitely losing money. That's why studios are closing down. That's why they're doing this. You guys let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. Leave as many comments as you can, reshare, like the video. I don't care if you dislike it, just like it anyways. And I will talk to each and every single one of you guys later.